When I arrived here, it was incredibly cold. I didn't really have a warm coat with me. I got quite a shock, of course. I thought, my goodness, they really are white. I really liked it to begin with. I thought, what a nice place. I saw it as a challenge, so I wasn't afraid. I didn't come here feeling anxious. I remember I thought everything was very clean and pretty and organized. But once I got out, it seemed very bleak, cold, untouchable. It's not exactly, hi there, welcome, come in, sit down, you know. Good to see you here. It's not like that.
I think you have to expect, as a foreigner, as a newcomer to the Netherlands, that Dutch people really have very little patience, you know.
But I do have the idea you need to be independent here, and that's not possible for everyone. Yes, I suffered from culture shock here. They really did have to go. I had seen it in their faces, which gradually changed from those of children into those of friends, from those of the past into those of now. Moving to another country with another language and another culture is a huge step. It means leaving behind much of what you hold dear. Your family, your friends, the people you worked with, your home, the place you lived in, your native country. I can help you find your way around more easily and get to know this new country better. Every day, people leave their own countries to go and live somewhere else. In Europe, for instance. In Holland, for example. People come from all over the world to settle here in the Netherlands.
Nederland is een klein land.
Holland is a small country. It's so small that it would fit into Morocco 11 times. Into Turkey 19 times. And 438 times into South America. Belgium lies to the south of the Netherlands, and Germany to the east. To the north and west, it has coasts on the North Sea. The Netherlands means the Low Countries. Approximately a third of Holland is below sea level. Huge numbers of Dutch people live on land situated lower than the water. Dikes have been built everywhere, particularly along the coast, so the land can't be flooded. The Delta Plan is one of the largest projects aimed at preventing future flooding. If there were to be a flood now, a large area of Holland would disappear underwater, and it would be exactly that area of land on which the most people live. That bit of land is called in Dutch de Randstad. It's the 4 big cities, Utrecht, Den Haag, Rotterdam and Amsterdam. They have each expanded so far that it looks as if they were built right next to each other. Every bit of land in the Netherlands is used for something. For agriculture. For industry. For traffic. For housing. or for recreation. A lot of the Netherlands was designed and built by man. It's the only way, because the Netherlands is small. And 16 million people have to live here. So Holland is one of the most densely populated countries in the world. The capital city of the Netherlands, or Holland, is Amsterdam.
The Netherlands is governed from The Hague. Almost all government buildings can be found in this city. It is also where the king lives.
De zeehaven van Rotterdam wordt Europoort genoemd. De ingang van Europa.
The sea harbor at Rotterdam is called Europort, the door to Europe. And close to Amsterdam, you've got Schiphol, the international airport. Schiphol is also below sea level.
Als je hier in Nederland aankomt, moet je eigenlijk
When
weer
you
helemaal
arrive
opnieuw
here in
beginnen.
Holland, you really have to start all over again. But fortunately, you won't be alone. You've got a partner, friends, or family who will help you. But you'll still have to do most of it yourself. The Netherlands has an oceanic climate. It's often windy, the weather can change quickly, and it's often wet. But fortunately, there's public transport, like the bus. Public transport runs on a strict timetable and doesn't usually wait for passengers who are late. Fortunately, there are also excellent rail links in Holland. But you do need a train ticket for the train. And you can buy them from the ticket machine. A lot of Dutch people drive cars. If you come from a country outside the European Union, you'll have to take your driving test again to get a Dutch license. Always busy on the roads. And there are traffic jams, a lot of traffic jams. Busy roads are not especially typical to the Netherlands, but this is. There are more bicycles in Holland than there are citizens. Many different lifestyles are possible in Holland, and you can live in many different places. It depends mostly on what you can afford. Dutch people spend more than half their time in and around their homes. They prefer to see their friends, acquaintances, and family at home. So a lot of life takes place indoors, which is why a good place to live is very important. You can buy a house, but there are also many houses and apartments to rent. This accommodation is for people with low incomes. This is called sociale woningbouw and means council or public housing. Sociale woningbouw is often housing which has been quickly constructed, but which often develops defects quickly too.
Als je weinig inkomen hebt,
If you have a low
of je hebt
income,
familie
or
of
if your
een
family or partner
partner
lives in one of these housing estates,
dan is de kans
there is a
groot
good
dat je
chance
in
that
een
you
van
too
dit
will
soort
come to live in
wijken
one. In the past, a lot of foreigners, Turkish people, Moroccans and their families, came to live here, precisely because the housing was cheaper. A lot of Dutch people moved away because they were able to pay for better housing in another part of the city. There are a lot of problems in the old parts of the city. People often don't understand each other because they have different cultures or because they speak different languages. A lot of people who have to live on low incomes live in these areas, Dutch people and foreigners. There's a lot of unemployment. There are drug-related problems, noise problems, and sometimes there are fights.
Inmiddels zijn veel inwoners
Nowadays, a lot of the inhabitants of the Randstad come from abroad, such as the Akin family, who originally came from Turkey. A total of 6 people live in this small flat, which will soon be pulled down. The children can't play outside. There are leaks which they have to mend themselves. Life is different from how Akin had imagined it would be.
If someone from abroad was planning to come here, I would tell them, think hard about what you're doing, what you're letting yourself in for. If I were 30 or 25, I wouldn't leave my country and come here. I'd stay in my own country, really.
But not everyone thinks like this. Irene really feels at home where she lives.
Ja, ik woon al
Yes,
19 jaar
I've been
hier.
living here for 19
Ik
years.
voel me echt prettig hier.
I like it
Echt
here,
waar.
really.
Mijn dochter is hier geboren, de jongste.
My daughter was
En
born
het is
here,
voor haar
the youngest,
gaan we mogen
and as
hier
far as
verhuizen.
she's concerned,
Maar ik voel
we're
me
not
hier
allowed to
prettig.
move again. But
Alle
I'd like it here too.
culturen leven hier.
There are
Dus je
lots of
leert ook
different
van
cultures
elkaar.
here, so
En
we
het
all
is toch
learn from
ook
one
dat
another,
ieder
and we
mens zijn
each
eigen
have our
waarde
own worth. There are not only people from different cultures living alongside each other, but also with each other, like Henk and Nelsie Blok. Do you like living here?
Ja, maar,
Yes, but it does get difficult for me when I have to go out in the cold when the winter comes. That's hard for me because I don't like the cold.
Ik wel, hè?
Ja.
Do you stay indoors a lot then?
Nee.
No.
Nee.
Wherever you live, it's important that you feel at home. That doesn't have to be in the city. It might also be in a village.
Meneer en mevrouw Belmadani.
Mr. and Mrs.
kwam hier
Belmadani,
23 jaar
you
geleden als
came here
eerste
23
allochtoon
years ago as the
in
first
Enspijk
family of foreigners in
Hoe was het voor u?
Enspijk. What was that like?
It was a good time. I was very well received, and I got a house here through my work,
And some of my colleagues lived here too. And, well, I was made to feel welcome.
En Dunja, hoe is het voor jou?
And Dunja, how was it for you to grow up between two cultures? It's nice. You learn a lot more because if you live in the city, you usually come across lots of people from your own country anyway. You find each other. But here, where I grew up, it was more with Dutch kids, and I grew up with the Dutch culture. Do you feel more Dutch or more Moroccan? Both? Both, yes. When you go to Holland, there are all sorts of places you might end up. But wherever it is, you'll come across different living and housing conditions from what you are used to. You'll come to the Netherlands, a different culture. How are you going to deal with that?
What I think is very important, at the moment you decide to move, and that it's going to happen too, that you're actually going to move, to emigrate, that you do it internally too, that you, as it were, emigrate internally, that you almost literally move from one culture to the other culture. Dare to make that move, so you can relax and don't have to be afraid because your own culture has been taken away.
People who have just arrived in the Netherlands should trust different cultures too. All cultures are made up of people, cultures who also assume basic things like not stealing, not killing, not lying, and that children should be brought up as well as possible. It's amazing to see how many similarities we have, and actually how few differences.
And having respect for each other, right? We should respect each other. If you have respect for yourself deep within, then every time you see another person, you should think, there's another person, there's someone else who loves.